Mighty Mouse absolutely goes off on Dana White for refusing to pay $30 million to Jon Jones for Aspinall fight. In a recent appearance on the Jackson podcast, Demetrious Johnson went on a rant, explaining how the UFC could very comfortably pay Jones his desired amount. DJ brought up the UFC's reported annual earnings for 2024, which saw an outstanding rise compared to previous years. The former champ supports Jon Jones in his demand for a higher payday. The Jones-Aspinall fight could be one of the biggest fights in UFC history, given Jones's legacy as one of the greatest of all time and Aspinall's meteoric rise as interim champion. And DJ believes the company should do everything in their power to make this fight happen, rather than lowballing Jones. Jones is coming off a dominant win over Stipe, and Aspinall recently ran through Curtis Blades in his last fight. Dana White remains optimistic about this super fight materializing. For several months, Dana has consistently assured fans that the deal will be completed. Given that he rarely makes such confident statements about a fight unless it's finalized, it's hard to see him backing out now.
But I think Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones needs to happen. I think Jon Jones said he wants $30 million. Of course they can fucking pay. They just reported earnings. Let me see what the fucking...
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. I'll give you the exact... So UFC brought in 1.4 and WWE...
1.4 billion. This motherfucker is asking for... Don't tell me you don't have fucking $30 million to pay Jon Jones. Once again, we're in a situation where the company wants something from Jon Jones. They want Tom Aspinall to fight Jon Jones. Jon Jones says, I would like $30 million. Can you guys pay me, yes or no? No, Jon Jones, we can't pay you. Perfect. The fight doesn't even happen. Jon Jones will go out from the sunset. Or like that's how I feel like negotiations should be. You tell me that, man. I'm proud of Jon Jones says y'all gonna have to pay me $30 million because they're gonna make all of the social media, all of the YouTube fight, all the money. They're gonna make double whatever they're gonna. I think what Jon Jones is asking for, 30 million plus pay-per-view points. I don't see why not. Do you want the fight to happen? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Pay the man 30 million and call it good.
Charles Oliveira believes Michael Chandler must finish Paddy Pimblett in first 2 rounds. Oliveira, who defeated Chandler twice, believes that Mike's best chance for victory lies in securing a quick finish early in the fight. Oliveira described Chandler as an aggressive and explosive fighter with knockout power, but pointed out that the younger fighter Paddy Pimblett has good movement, solid jiu-jitsu, and striking skills. Oliveira emphasized the importance of experience, acknowledging that Chandler could have success in the first 2 rounds, especially with his explosive style. This bout is incredibly crucial for Michael Chandler, who's had a rough run in the UFC with a 2-4 record. Despite his explosive and entertaining fighting style, Chandler has struggled to secure consistent victories at the top level, with losses to some of the best in the lightweight division, including Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje. This has led many to question whether he can still compete at the highest level and make a true run for the title. A win over Paddy could be a turning point in Chandler's career. Pimblett's been on the rise and is starting to make a name for himself, so beating him would not only give Chandler a much needed win, but also prove that he can still compete at the highest level. It would keep him in the mix with the top guys and remind everyone of his potential. But if Chandler loses, it could make people wonder if he still belongs in the conversation with the best, and it might force him to reconsider his place in the sport. Here's what Charles Oliveira said about this fight. Quote, Michael Chandler is a very aggressive and explosive guy. I have nothing but respect for him. He has power in his hands. On the other side, you have a younger guy that believes in himself, moves very well, and has really good jiu-jitsu and also a good stand-up game. He moves well, but experience counts for a lot. In the first 2 rounds, Chandler has a chance to knock him out because of how explosive he is. But if the fight goes into the 3rd round, I believe it's going to be hard for Chandler because Paddy is younger and he's very talented, end quote. In a recent interview with Russian podcaster Aslanbek Badayev, Khamzat Chimaev was asked about a rumored altercation he had with the former Bellator welterweight champion Yaroslav Amosov. Khamzat, known for going hard in sparring and occasionally getting into altercation, shared an intriguing story involving the Ukrainian fighter. According to Chimaev, him and Amosov went really hard in sparring, to the point where Amosov took off the gloves, threw them onto the mats, and told Khamzat he'd never spar him ever again. The undefeated Chechen even went in full detail about the altercation, which happened during his preparation for a highly anticipated championship bout with Dricus du Plessis. I've heard of this story about your hard sparring with Yaroslav Amosov, and I want you to confirm if it actually happened or not. I heard you two went back and forth until you started to take over the sparring and pushed him to the point where he took off his gloves, threw them away, and told you, "I'm never sparring you again. You hit too hard." Is it all real? Yes, it happened. We sparred just one time, and I don't know, some people don't like it when I go hard. My coach told me to always go hard, so I went hard. Yaroslav told me he didn't enjoy sparring that way and left the gym. I got a little angry and threw some harsh words in his way. I just have a different mentality. I was raised differently. Some of these fighters do light sparrings, and then in actual fights they go very hard. In my case, I go hard everywhere, both in sparring and in actual fights as well. Yaroslav is a good fighter. I can't say anything bad about him. I'm just different. I like to go to war. I like pain. Khamzat is coming off a dominant win over former champ Rob Whittaker, while DDP just recently defended his belt in a rematch against Sean Strickland. This fight promises fireworks, with both fighters promising to stand in the middle and deliver an all-out war. Will Khamzat run through du Plessis and take the belt, or will DDP's unparalleled endurance and awkwardness inside the octagon be too much for the Chechen? Leave your comments below. Ian Garry is clearly frustrated with the UFC's decision to give Jack Della Maddalena the title shot over him. Garry, who recently suffered a close loss to Shavkat Rakhmonov, feels overlooked as Shavkat is sidelined with an injury and unable to fight for the title. Despite the loss, Garry believes his performance in the fight against Rakhmonov showed he's still one of the top contenders in the division. After Shavkat's injury, Garry feels like he should have been the one to step in for the title shot. He's upset that the UFC is giving the opportunity to Della Maddalena, who hasn't fought in over a year, instead of him, especially when he's been more active and has been in the mix. Garry's anger isn't just about the missed opportunity, but about proving his worth in the division and showing that he's ready to challenge for the belt, even if he's coming off a loss. His belief in his abilities and his readiness for a title shot hasn't wavered, and he'll be looking to prove the UFC wrong in the future.
Why amn't I fighting for a title? I had a chat with my agent and I rang him when I heard about when he told me about this news, and I was livid, still am to this day. You know, I had a number one contenders fight where the guy now has to get knee reconstruction and is out for a year. But you know, it's not my fault. I didn't do it. I didn't stab his knee 20-something times and boot the leg off. I'm not fighting for a world title because I'm coming off a loss and they're giving it to a guy who's been injured for a year and they think that's more exciting, but they're wrong. The world title fight was meant to be Shavkat Rakhmonov taking on Belal Muhammad for the world title, but Shavkat apparently is out injured. Now they're pulling in a guy who hasn't fought in a year because he's had an operation on his forearm because he broke it in his last fight and hasn't fought in a long time and hasn't been active. So they're giving it to Jack Della Maddalena to fight Belal Muhammad because I'm coming off a loss. That's okay. Don't worry, I'll get you all. They're all mine.
That's it from MMA Psycho. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA news.